we got PowerPoint, we got all kinds of bells and whistles here, but before I do it, because it's going to be my screen is small, and I do hate to set expectations here negatively, but I get all kinds of problems getting this thing set up, and I'm already experiencing here.
Is that your backswing?
That's my daughter. Yeah, I'm already missing my screen here. Doggone it. We're just having a little trouble with our HDMI going into the screen. I tell you what. Rather than showing it to you, I think I've got to start my presentation with a PowerPoint prayer, okay? And so that's what I was going to share with you, but I'm just going to read the prayer, and this is with apologies to the Book of Common Prayer. Your response is, Lord, have mercy, all right? Shall we pray? With all our heart and mind, let us pray for this PowerPoint presentation, saying, Lord, have mercy. For the electricity flowing through this patchwork of technology, we say, Lord, have mercy. For the bulb that brings light to these slides of insight, we say, Lord, have mercy. For the inspired order in which each individual slide is placed, we say, Lord, have mercy. For the keystrokes, the remote control, the mouse, the pointer, and other prompting mechanisms, we say, Lord, have mercy. And finally, for the possibility of devastating boredom resulting from the delivery of this PowerPoint presentation, we say, Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Thank you, because I'm going to really need it here. Clark, we may need to get Ashley here because we have completely lost the screen. So let me tell you where I'm coming from, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon. My work with ACDA over the last 13 years led to, of course, observing thousands and thousands of conductors, programs. But most importantly, after 2008, when I started the job, we hit the decline, the banking system. You all remember 2007-8. I come into ACDA at that point, all excited about my vision for the direction, and then money dries up. Not unlike COVID in some way. Well, there's similarities to it, but what I found very early on was that money, resources were not going to be my key to getting us to where we needed to be as an organization. So what I learned to do is I really turned to innovation. And I spent 13 years developing what became my model for innovation. And it really came through, if you're an ACD, American Choral Directors Association, not the Azalea Coast Dealers Association or the Air Force Civic, anyway, the American Choral Directors Association, what I found was, I believe it or not, resistance, 60 years of an organization that was somewhat sclerotic in lots of areas. It didn't necessarily appear that way to the public, but a lot of things were just locked in. I mean, we'd never done it that way before. All the cliches that you all encounter all the time. So as I was working toward innovation, I encountered the same kind of resistance that we all would believe encountered. So working through that led to the change in the American Choral Directors Association, led to the change of something, again, I'm talking parlance here for ACDA members. I just need to get back to my happy place there. What I found was that the resistance. Candy, you remember when we had repertoire and standards? Well, I was pushing all around the country. What's the standard? Can you tell me what the standard is for a children's choir? What's the standard for a collegiate choir? What's the standard for a community choir? And then I really started innovating in the areas of, look, we're not just about church and community and college choirs. We're about prison choirs and hospice choirs and social justice choirs and complaint choirs and bicycle choirs. And choirs are everywhere. Why are we just going to these standard things? And so what's the standard for a hospice choir? When Alice Parker's working with handicapped kids, what's the standard? So I pushed him out of standards and said, no, we're going to become repertoire and resources. Because resources moves toward, and I like Polyphony going to Polyphony Music Resources. We couldn't decide what standards were. Now, we wanted the excellence, of course. The bar was going to be set high, but we couldn't say what it was. They tried for 50 years. And all those things met with resistance because there's a bureaucracy underneath it. And so all the things I'm going to talk about today I've got stripes and I've got cuts on me from them. Okay? I want you to know I'm not talking about some theory. This is a mindset that I want to give to you today. Okay? Two things. I really came to believe that to change a culture, you have to change a mindset. And that's what I want to give you today. It was a mindset change for your work. That's what I hope to be your take home for your work in your ministry. I use it in Emmanuel Baptist Church. I'm using it in some new consulting work that I'm doing right now. And that is changing the mindset of the folks I work with. And it's an innovation mindset. The second thing I want to give to you today is basically a dashboard. Okay? I'm going to give you something that I hope you can put on your computer at home or your desk or wherever, and it's going to be a dashboard to remind you of what that mindset is. Those are the two take-homes. But before I do that, I want to show, the next book I'll write, I want to be lessons I've learned from Tom Hanks, okay? Because I love the movies that he's in, and this is Apollo 13. You all know this scene very, very well. Those are from Texas. It's probably some of your mission statements or something. In Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. We all know that scene, but the scene that happened right after that is one of my favorite moments because it's got all the elements to me of innovation. It has all the things, and I really was watching it on Netflix or something one night after I had worked out all my theory and all I would try to do, and I saw this scene again. I said, that's it. So let's remember this, and I want you to help me and participate with me with some of the key components of what we see happening right here. And let's all say, and Lord, for this Tom Hanks moment, Lord, thank you. All right, that little mouse is so tiny down there. There he is. Gotcha.
On the gauges. Anything over 15 and you get impaired judgment, blackouts, the beginnings of brain asphyxia.
What about the scrubbers on the command module?
They take square cartridges. The ones on the limb are round.
Tell me this isn't a government operation.
This just isn't a contingency we've remotely looked at.
Those CO2 levels are going to be getting toxic.
Well, I suggest you gentlemen invent a way to put a square peg in a round hole. Rapidly.
Okay, people, listen up. People upstairs handed us this one, and we gotta come through. We gotta find a way to make this fit into the hole for this, using nothing but that. Let's get it organized.
Okay, let's build a filter.
Better get some coffee going, too.
I like that. Let's get some coffee going. We got to make this fit into this using nothing but that. That's the mindset of innovation. Now, a couple other books that I wrote leading up to this, Mentoring in the Ensemble Arts, Collaboration in the Ensemble Arts, that was leading up to innovation in the ensemble arts. And really, when I say ensemble arts, I'm really talking about the administrative work that we do. What I'd like to do is try to give to you and show you where I'm going first, and then I want to back it up just a little bit. I want to give you the take-home, it is really tiny, isn't it? It's the way it goes sometimes. Let's get to it. See what we can do. Hi. Okay. So I just feel like I could quit right now. This is good. Innovation, my definition, is a creative, sustainable response to a challenge or a problem. Now, go down in the weeds with me on this because, first of all, creative. I love creativity. I'd love to brainstorm. Doug and I have been doing some fun brainstorming leading up to Polyphony. But the thing to me that leads to innovation, and the question I ask is it sustainable? Okay? Because there are some quick answers, but if you really want to solve a problem, you want sustainability. Right? So I look for those two things in collaboration with each other, creativity and sustainability. It's a response to a challenge or a problem. We are problem solvers as administrators, as leaders, right? That's what we do. At ACDA, when my phone rang, if it's a parent or if it's an honor choir mother, if they got through to me, it was a problem. It could not have been solved at other point along the food chain. And so my question every day was problem solving. And that is really what innovation, I think, is all about. Now, what I want to give you, I'm going to go to the end of the story in case devastating boredom sets in. I want to get to the end of the story, and this is the take-home. With your telephones or your pictures, I want you to be able to put on your screensaver back home or on your desk the what's going to become a mnemonic for us, poetic. I want to flesh out because I think innovation is a poetic response to life. I love that Timothy read poems this morning to us because they're so much richer than just science, right? That's what I love about reading scripture I'm reading poetry that's so much bigger than the earth was created on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's this richness of the creation. And I think innovation can bring, and poetic is my response to the way I want to live my day. I want it to be a poetic day in which I solve my problems. Now here's what I'm doing. I am taking my first letters here, and this is what I want you to remember it by. First of all, innovation begins with people. It's the people we're serving. It's the heart of it's a pulse. It's not an institution. I don't believe institutions have hearts. I believe that people have hearts, and that's where we're working. Everything leads back to people. You all know that. You're ministers. I'm a minister. I know it's people, but I think I get lost sometimes in problem solving and forget I am working with people. This is the first place. My wife is a preschool teacher. She is a Montessori preschool teacher. She grew up in Italy. She worked in Montessori school. She went to them. She came to them. I've read everything that I could read that Maria Montessori wrote. And Maria Montessori's approach to education is it starts with the baby. It starts with the child. Everything begins with the activity and the behavior and the work of the child. Not a theory imposed on the child, is a response to the child. And I believe that really holds true for our work. It is a people work. Secondly, the O of poetic is optimism. Thinking innovatively requires optimistic thinking, knowing that there is at least one breakthrough idea that will be a solution. This is the tough thing, is the thought that you can keep optimism in the mix. Because the Debbie Downers, the naysayers, we don't do it that way here, the contrarians that just love to take a position and be the one that says, nope, it's green. You know, you just know that they're in the room, right? They've come to the table. That's their place in the world. They get to be the contrarian. They've decided that. So you know it's going to be in the mix, right? It's just going to be there. So someone has to uphold the idea that there's going to be a breakthrough idea that comes through this. That can be really hard, can it? Yeah. Good news is, with me, it's my dad's DNA. I just grew up with a positive father. I think it's in my bloodstream. So it comes a little easier for me to be the optimist, the glass that's half full guy. But I know they're in the room. I encounter them every day. So the O of poetic day is optimism. Number 3, experimentation. The idea that you've got to try a few things. You've got to beta test some ideas. You have to provide escape ramps to say, let's try. Let's take it down this road. And then let's have an exit ramp in case it doesn't work. Or a plan B. Be ready to offer how you're going to be able to escape from this if it doesn't work. But be prepared that you can experiment and create a mindset that we're going to try some things out. Thinking innovatively requires experimentation or a process of trial and error as we think through various solutions. Now here comes the center of my mnemonic. I love this one. This is my breakthrough idea. My gift to Polyphony today is this one. Tension. This is where you encounter there is going to be tension, and you don't know what it is going into. You anticipate several of it. Yeah, you know her. You know that issue. You heard about that. Those things you know going into it, but there are other things you don't know going into it, okay? And I'm going to get to one of the primary reasons they're going to have tension at the end of this mnemonic in just a second, but you're going to get tension. What happens when tension happens, folks? What are the two possibilities there of tension? What do people tend to do when tension comes along? Just offer them to me. What? Break. They break? Things break, yeah. Things break. Good. What else, Candy? They back away. You back away. Right. Very natural. Like, it's not worth it. I'm a volunteer. I'm just a volunteer.
Engage with anger.
Battle. Battle. The opposite. We go to it. Yeah. Right. We go to it with meanness or with sometimes with spite and so on. What else?
No, it's the same idea.
Same idea.
More tension.
More tension. So leads to tension. I want you all to see this ring I wear here. Can you, Curtis, can you see what it is?
Bison.
It's a bison. Oh, look at you. Okay. Would you say bison or buffalo?
I'd say bison.
I don't know the difference. It is a bison or a buffalo. Okay. What's that? Well, I just was in Oklahoma for 13 years, okay? And there's three things Oklahoma really taught me. Three, and you Texans kind of look up and you know it's up there somewhere, right? Number one is the weather is unbelievable in Oklahoma. Unbelievable. I mean, green skies, whirling clouds, things going backwards. It is... it's crazy there. We have a season there that's tornado season. I mean, it's really it. And the crazy thing about Oklahoma is when it comes, we go out on the front porch and we watch for them. Yeah, we get the news, we listen. It's like 4 blocks away, and you're on the. So I learned about weather in Oklahoma. The second thing is, get this: there are more languages spoken in Oklahoma than in Europe. You know why? Native American indigenous tribes that we, in our wisdom, shipped to Oklahoma. So when you go across Oklahoma, you don't go from Cobb County to DeKalb County or whatever. You go from Chickasha to Potawatomi to Shawnee to Cheek to Osage. And it's on the signs. You are going through all these nations all across Oklahoma. So 39-something tribes in the state. Amazing. Okay, so we got that. And the third thing they have down now near Texas is you got a lot of free ranging going on, and you got cows, steers, buffalo, a lot of cows and buffaloes and bison across the state. Down near Altus and so on, you can go and you can just go for miles and miles, and you can have buffalo and steers all over the place. So cows and buffaloes down there. So the first chief of the Cherokee, female chief of the Cherokee Nation was Wilma Mankiller. Y'all ever heard that name, Wilma Mankiller? Great name, isn't it? I wonder how she got that name. Wilma Mankiller. Wilma Mankiller was, I think it was on Oprah. She was interviewed, and I think Oprah said, and was talking about her upbringing and just her leading then as a tribe, leading the nation. And she talked about the buffalo and the cows in Oklahoma. And she said, I'll tell you the difference between cows and bison or buffalo. She said, when a cow sees those big storms of Oklahoma coming and those whirling winds and the green skies, a cow runs away from the storm. She said, but when a buffalo sees that storm, a buffalo goes into the storm. She said, because the buffalo has learned the quickest way through a storm is to go into the storm. All right. And I bought me a buffalo ring. And when I'm in my meetings with ACDA or my anything, I just look down to that ring. I rub his head a little bit and I say, here we go. We're going to go into the storm. Because the quickest way through this is to go into the storm. And I love that saying. I believe it. And because you know what's on the other side of the storm? Right on the other side of the storm? That's where the idea came. And it happened to me over and over again, enough for me to get set on fire to say to you all, you got to go through the storm, you go through the tension, and there's the idea. Thinking innovatively requires integrating parts of a problem toward a breakthrough, innovative solution. And that's what I found over and over again. And it transformed my work with ACDA. It led to everything that I was able to do. Now, here is the final word, and this is really the key to it all. This is the secret sauce. This is the one that I love. Collaboration. Because collaboration, which does lead to tension, collaboration, thinking innovatively requires collaborative thinking, drawing from the skills and knowledge of others and not relying solely on oneself. And this made all the difference in the world in my work. It made the difference when I went to the Barbershop Harmony Society. You know what? How many of you guys are barbershoppers? Or anybody barbershoppers in here? There's one, two, good. You know, ACDA and Barbershop Harmony Society. You look at them and you go, the ACDA crowd for the most part were like, oh, you know, we don't do straw hats. You know, we don't. Yeah. And the barbershop guys, those snobs, you know, they do the Distler and the Shoots, and, you know, we're doing ice cream, you know, and so there's these two different worlds. And but Marty Monson, who is the director and the executive director, came to me and we said, look, he had thousands of men and women now that are singing, and I had a bunch of directors who were relating to literally millions of singers. I said, what can we do? Collaboration. And we got our ideas together and we worked two different organizations, two different bureaucracies, and that led to three things. When we started collaborating, we decided that we both could agree on lifelong singing was significant for both organizations. Bam. Number two, we needed more boys and men singing. Number two. Number three was healthy singing is good for all of our organizations. We agreed on those three things. We started funding them. That led to programs like Real Men Sing, which we would fill the Norman, Oklahoma stadium with a bunch of boys, and we'd just get together on a Saturday and do boy things. You know, we would let them get their picture made with that big jumbotron, but we sang all day long with these guys. That was a Barbershop ACDA collaboration that we did together, and several other things like that. Collaboration is really the secret sauce to poetic. So what I want to give you is a mindset that says innovation is going to get you through this time. It's exactly what we heard yesterday, Emily talking about innovation, that we have to go outside our box and find new collaborators, new people to help us with. Secondly, we know that collaboration for me is the answer, and tension is going to come. Now let's go back to Tom Hanks. Of my poetic mnemonic here, what did you see in that video that gives you a little key to why I like that video so much? First of all, people. What were they doing there in Houston that was all about? What was that flurry all about? Just simple answer, but what was it? What were those guys doing? Saving the astronauts, right. They were driven to save the astronauts. That's compelling to me. It really is. Okay, optimism. Did you see it present in any way in that little moment? Yeah. The guy that dumped the stuff out? I mean, and guys, better put some coffee on. I think those were signs of optimism, okay? Experimentation. I don't remember the movie that well, but did you see it was duct tape? Of course duct tape was there. I mean, you know, but did you see all the things, the conduit that was there? They were trying to basically change the filters. They had to make the square peg fit in the round hole, was what they was trying to do. So the experimentation, obviously, the guys with the engineers, I mean, these are the brightest minds. They had pocket protectors. I I knew they were smart guys, you know what I mean? So they had that going for them. And then the collaboration, you know, I just don't know. Carrie, you were down in Houston. I just don't know the brain power that must have been around, you know, at that time. But, you know, I've seen enough films now to think, wow, what they were putting into this. So the collaboration of minds, you have to know there were ideas that were conflicting all the time, and different issues, money, government work, you know, all that kind of stuff going on. So there was clearly going to be tension. Then idea, results, after the collaboration, collaboration work, tension work at the very end, and of course they save the day. So I love that image, and to me, I carry it with me. I really carry it with me all the time. Now let me go into just one more area of this. I want to talk about the ethics. The reason I think this is important for us, why we care about innovation. Number one, I believe it's the fact that collaborative transformational ideas work across various lines of engagement. It's nice to bring differences together. We're talking about similar others, but different others really creates the richness of it. This is why I work so hard in ACEA to make it a more diversified organization, because the richness of that was going to make us better. We know that, right? Tennessee is such a great state of music. Why? Because two races ended up collaborating in Memphis, and it became the blues. And on across the state. And it's just a rich, better place to be when we work across lines in intention and diversity. It's sustainable. I said that's part of my definition. I think creativity is fun and interesting, but innovation is sustainable. Sustainability reflects the best use of our resources for its stewardship. That's why I like innovation. Third, it's democratic. Sustainable creative ideas come as a result of real people working with real people, not someone engineering something for someone else. That's why there's tension, because we go into the storm. We wade in the water. Innovation is humanistic. Innovation addresses challenges through human ingenuity, imagination, and entrepreneurialism that can come from anywhere. The idea that comes through collaboration is probably not the one you thought was going to come when you went into it. Yeah, that idea on the other side, it surprises me. And I just think that is so exciting for you if you're willing to go through the tension and break through. Innovation is not elitist. Innovative ideas come from many different sources and incubates those ideas towards scalable innovation. What's the saying? There's no limit to what can be done if no one cares who gets the credit, right? And that's what I love about this, is that the credit can be and can come from anywhere. Core innovation, I'll close with this. There's three areas in this mindset that I shape my day, and it's true even today. There's core innovation, the stuff I do on a regular basis. I took notes from Tim's homily this morning because I'm looking for little things to tweak my day in my core activities. Just little things that will make a difference in the way I shape my day. Because about 75% of my innovation that I do in my own life is just little tweaks around the edges of just everyday mundane tasks. Secondly, there's an adjacent innovation. These ideas expand my existing organization by collaborating with somebody else. And so I spend some time every day in collaboration in order to move. For a case in point, in Nashville, I'm at Emmanuel Baptist Church. I found out in the late fall that one of the chamber ensembles in Nashville, called the Nashville Chamber Choir, was dissolving because the director was retiring, and they were going to spend probably months finding a new director. I invited that choir to sing Creation with me, with masks, during this time where we can hardly get critical mass. I found a choir and said, would you all like to join us and do a project that keeps singing alive for you? Put two organizations together. This spring we're doing it. I called Paul Kwame at Fisk University yesterday while I was here and said, Paul, would you let me sing it at Fisk Chapel in Nashville? Paul said he would work on that. So we're going to take it and we're going to blow everyone's mind. They have no idea that we're going to sing it in Fisk Chapel. And the reason I want to sing it there is because in 1875, the Fisk Jubilee Singers sang the Creation before they were known for singing spirituals. They were praying spirituals before they went out to sing the Creation, and someone heard them say, you all should really add those to your program. They end up touring England with spirituals instead of the Creation. I mean, I can't wait. I'm just so excited. So innovation. This is what I think really will set you on fire. So, and then finally, transformative innovation. These are game changers. These are when you change the brand, when you change the name of the organization, when you change personnel or something. Big changes, transformative. Everyone thinks about the epiphany, the big change as being innovation. I think this is probably only 5%, 2% of my life is game-changing innovation, right? But it's always a possibility. It's always sitting out there. But I don't want people to define innovation by the transformative one only. I like the little ones, the core innovations, just as much as I like the transformative innovations. I'm going to stop right there. A little pushback. I like to have pushback to say, great idea, Tim, but that's all bunk. Give me pushback, and I'm going to shorten this right now. Okay, about 3 or 4 minutes of pushback, or reflection. So let's pull the masks down and let me hear what you all have to say about my model of innovation. What I want you to do is have a dashboard, change the mindset in your workplace, because this is going to, I think, help get you through. Any thoughts?
Tim, the guy who dumped the box
Yeah.
in real life, his name was Merlin Merrick.
Really?
And he sang in my choir for 7 years. And he had all of those characteristics you were talking about.
He really did.
You know, he just had all kinds of enthusiasm, was a can-do person. He was also an engineer.
Uh-huh.
He was meticulous as all get out. But
Wow.
but I believe that probably his colleague caught the enthusiasm as he dumped the box. So here's some stuff we can work with.
Well, how about that?
Crazy, you know?
And he was in your church.
He was.
Oh my God. Is it Shreveport? Where were you at that time?
No, it was actually in San Antonio.
In San Antonio.
Yeah, he had been in Houston. And,
Thanks for that. That helps me even more to know the real guy is the real deal.
still very much alive and
How about that?
would be interesting for you to talk to.
Thank you. Let's follow up. Okay, good. Thank you, Randy. Anybody else? Any other color or thoughts or experiences? Anybody got a problem right now that you're trying to solve? Okay. Yeah, please.
Interesting that in the box, I think we all know this, but in the box was all the things that the astronauts, they couldn't have anything in the box that wasn't in the spaceship already.
Right.
In which, when I watched the movie the first time, that fascinated me because that's all they had
Yeah.
access to. And then they had to figure out how to make that filter through only
Oh,
those things.
yeah. Another reason I love Timothy's analogy this morning, that's all they had.
Yeah.
That's all they had, you know. I play the banjo, and it's a gourd, it's a stick, it's a catgut. That's all they had. That's all they had. In fact, the innovation of the banjo was changing the gourd into a tire ring because gourds rot. and they found out that the inside of a tire would, and that's what led to the real vibrant sound that you hear in a banjo now. But the banjo itself is innovation. It's innovation. American instrument brought from West Africa. Anybody else? I saw another hand.
You ever get, I wonder sometimes if we just get stuck in the tension spot. And we don't ever break through that tension spot, so much so that we just go back to, okay, we can't innovate. And then we go back to the very beginning.
Exactly, we do.
So let's just keep doing it the same.
And honestly, thank you for that, Ryan, because what I tried, guys, believe me, books are not what I push, but the ideas in this book about that are this. Language that helps you to do things, to park contrary ideas. My wife gave me the gift of saying, Tim, use the parking lot idea. Say, yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's park that for a while. So language that says, yeah, you can bring that in, but it's not going to train wreck where we're headed with this momentum. Because those ideas can come into play, and I want to give air to them, but I just don't want them to become toxic to my bigger piece. Final thought.
I was just going to say, I love the way that we have all these tools already at our disposal.
Right.
It's just how can we use them in a new and different way, and even try this and give it enough time, and if it doesn't work, then we'll scramble them again. It's like constantly doing a Rubik's Cube or something.
Yep.
So it's just so exciting that we really do have what we need. We just need to see it in a new way.
Yeah. So pray on what Timothy said this morning, because he said, guys, don't forget. Don't forget. My parting shot is this, to your point, Candy, and to Timothy's point this morning, is I heard this not long ago from a children's choir director saying all these parents are wanting, people are clamoring for what they want their kids to have things they didn't have. Don't forget about giving kids the things that you do have. And that's what I think about hymns, and that's what I think about Scripture is, yeah, you want to give them things they don't have. That's what every parent wants, but think about what you do have. And that's the richness that the homily said to me this morning. So.